Doug, you've been pretty consistent saying you thought they looked like the best college football team in the country. Were you surprised at all that they, in fact, were placed at number one in this initial rankings?
No, I nailed it. I knew it. So, I mean, I did. I think I talked about it before. I went to like the mock committee exercise several weeks ago in Texas where we get to act like we're on the committee. And I just got a broader understanding of what they really value. And they really do. They have their own set of statistical metrics that they pay Sports Source Analytics to produce for them. And it's all, I mean, we all use the same basic numbers, but you can tell what they value. And Ohio State, you just knew Ohio State was going to be really high in all of those. Rob Mullen, the committee chair, after the announcement, talked about that. They're just really good. They are what they want. This is what the committee wants. They want balance. And Ohio State is balanced offense and defense. They're very high in their statistical metrics. Their strength of schedule is better than people realize it is because Indiana and Cincinnati are better than people realize, and that they have the Wisconsin win. So I very strongly thought they would be number one. You knew it would be LSU and Ohio State 1-2. And I think Ohio State has never been number one in the playoff era during the year. They've won a national championship. They've made the playoff twice. They've never been number one during the year. So I thought this was a big deal, sort of an acknowledgement that Ohio State is back. And I thought it was important because Ohio State is the best it can be right now. It's doing everything right. And if your best still isn't the best in the country, then maybe you aren't quite what you think you are. But it turns out the committee, the only 13 people that matter, they looked at that and said, this is Ohio State at its best? Yeah, that best is the best in the country.
And we will take a look. This is what the length of them look like, the top 8, if you will. Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, Penn State. Are you surprised Penn State checks in at number 4 and that Clemson, Dabo Swinney wasn't thrilled with that, is outside of the top 4 to begin?
I was a little surprised. I hadn't thought about it. We were sort of talking about it, the Ohio State writers, on Tuesday afternoon, and someone had mentioned it, and I hadn't really thought about it. But I think it is an acknowledgement of strength of schedule. I think it's an acknowledgement that the Big Ten's pretty good. And by the way, it's an acknowledgement that the ACC stinks. The ACC stinks. So that is Clemson. It is a thing that Ohio State dealt with in the past, in the BCS era, where Jim Tressel's Ohio State teams were running through the Big Ten, but no one thought the Big Ten was good. So it was like, well, big deal. Okay, you're undefeated. You don't play anybody. Clemson hasn't played anybody. And then they have that close loss. They barely beat North Carolina. And the thing about this day and age, a win is not just a win. So it was very good for them. They managed to beat North Carolina by a point. But the fact that game was close hurt them. You know, Penn State has played some, 3 or 4 games within a touchdown. They haven't had a nail-biter quite like that. So good for the committee. Clemson doesn't deserve to be any higher. And you can only play who you can play, but when your conference stinks, you get dinged.